This is Network Security, Firewalls, and VPNs, Lesson 10, corresponding to Chapter 10, Part 1, Using Common Firewalls. Our learning objective is to appraise the firewall and other security options available for personal and small office, home office, known as SOHO environments. The key concepts: types of firewalls available for personal SOHO environments, firewall-related settings on a router or wireless access point, Windows firewall with advanced security settings, common security tools in the personal SOHO environment that counter active and passive threats, and selecting an appropriate firewall for personal SOHO environments. Personal SOHO firewall options. You could have a native firewall built into the operating system, a third-party software firewall, which could be commercial or open source, a router wireless access point firewall, and the settings that you have to configure in order to make that work, a hardware appliance firewall, and a virtual firewall. A lot of people that have a router or wireless access point may not even know that they have a firewall built into it that they can configure to work for them very easily. It's important to check your wireless access point or router's instructions manual in order to determine whether you do have a firewall built into it, and then how to configure it if you do. Before choosing a SOHO firewall, you need to understand the common threats facing your environment. There are active and passive threats. Passive threats, those that you must see out to be harmed. An example: you have to visit a website to be harmed by malicious code embedded in that site. To address passive modern web browsers, including pop-up blockers, cookie filters, and malicious site managers. It includes antivirus scanning and anti-spyware scanners. Active: one that takes some type of initiative to seed out a target to compromise. This could be, of course, a hacker, an intruder, or an automated worm. Fortunately, most individuals in SOHO environments are not significant or primary targets of most hacker activity. There just isn't enough value or benefit in spending the time and effort to compromise a moderately secured single computer or small network. In choosing a personal SOHO firewall, for Windows, consider the native operating system firewall first, such as Windows Firewall. It's free, it's built in, it's easy to configure, and easy to use. And it comes on all Windows machines, Windows 7 and greater. Linux. Consider free open source options first. IPchains, iptables, PF, NetFilter, and Viata. Note that Linux distributions don't automatically come with the native software firewall. And even when Linux does provide a native firewall, it's not likely to be enabled or configured by default. Due to the wide range of variations in Linux distributions, Linux does provide a wide range of firewalls. Tips for choosing a personal SOHO firewall. Consider firewalls hosted by your ISP connection devices or wireless access point. If the ISP provider doesn't offer a wireless option or requires you to pay extra for wireless by way of their equipment, Comcast does for SOHO, you should consider deploying your own wireless access point. Most wireless access points for consumers in SOHO cost under $100 or just over it and offer firewall services along with wireless connectivity. You could also explore commercial firewalls and appliances if other options fail to provide the required security or present management difficulties such as the complexity of your network grows. Windows Firewall with advanced security. This is available in Windows 7. The configuration settings for home, work, and public connections. You can password protect a home group or work group. It has more granular control and configuration in its management interface, has more extensive logging, and may be managed from a command line. Here's an example of it. And you can see, you click on the left-hand options and it'll bring up in the center various different results of that, and of course over on the right hand side you can see where you can actually perform different actions such as importing policies, exporting policies, restoring a default policy, and so forth. Okay, so this concludes part 1, and we'll be talking about different settings and such in part 2.